What is up, guys? Souter the Savage back, and today I am here with another episode of Souter Stories. Today I'm going to be telling you about the longest and craziest travel day that I have ever been through. Now, you might notice that there is something a little bit different, and yes, I am now filming this on my phone. I am no longer using my Mac. The main reason why I wanted to film on my phone is just because I wanted my videos to be better quality. So I went out, bought a hand tripod, and now they're better. Now, eventually, I do want to upgrade to a camera soon, but I don't know how long that's going to take. But stick around, because these videos are not going to be filmed on my phone, so they're going to be a lot better quality. They're now going to be HD instead of 480p or even worse. But anyways, and also the sound is going to be much better. So now let's get this video started. Now, this story happened probably about a month ago when I was coming back from my European vacation. So here's how it starts out. So in total, I was in 3 different countries, was on 4 trains, 1 plane, and a car ride from hell. So and then I got to my door. It was like from hotel door to my door, it was about 16 hours. But this needs a bit of a deep rewind. So let's get this started out. So this starts out in Paris, France. So I was in my hotel, which was right around Jardin de Luxembourg. So I wake up, it's about 6:30, and I go down, get some breakfast, and it was just me, my dad, and my sister. We eventually left our hotel. I'm not going to tell you what it was, but we eventually walk over to the train station, which was just like a subway station. We had to take an RER train from Luxembourg to Gare du Nord, and Gare du Nord was the big train station where all the big trains are, instead of just like subway. So it was about 4 stops, and that was the first train. Now we had to go to Gare du Nord because we had to fly back to London. And no, we had to take the train back to London, and we were going to fly back to Toronto out of Heathrow, which is the largest airport in London. Now, you might be wondering, well, why didn't you just fly out of France or Paris from like Charles de Gaulle Airport? Now, here's what happened. So we still were undecided where we would go for the final part of my European vacation, because London we had set for like 8 days, and then there was 4 days in another country. We debated between Netherlands, Spain, France, and possibly Germany, but we ended up going with France. But when we booked like our travel tickets, like our plane tickets, we did not book our tickets. We booked our tickets back home from Heathrow instead of out of Paris. So we had to get back to London. So the second train, we had to take a Eurostar from Paris, Gare du Nord, to London St. Pancras Station. Now, let me give you a little bit of details on Eurostar. Now, Eurostar is just a European train system. Now, normally they go from London to France. Sometimes they'll go to Belgium or other countries. I think they go to Netherlands as well. But anyways, if you were to drive from London to Paris, it is about a 6-hour drive. But if you go by Eurostar, you go under the channel. You go under this channel where between France and England. So you go under a tunnel which goes like 50 feet below sea level for about 20 minutes. And when you get out, say like I'm going from France to the UK, you go in through the tunnel or the channel from France, and when you come out, you're in London. So then there was that 1-hour time change. The ride was about 2.5 hours because the trains go up to a speed of 300 kilometers an hour. That's pretty fast. So we eventually get to St. Pancras, and we had to get to the airport. Now, we had 2 options. Either we could hop on a train and get to St. Pancras Station, take a train, and possibly see if we can transfer over to another line and take it to Heathrow, or we could take the train, get off at Paddington Station, and take the Heathrow Express. Now, we ended up going to take the Heathrow Express. Now, so, of course, when you get into London, either you have to buy a ticket or you have an Oyster card. Now, Oyster card, what you do is you basically just load up money. You basically like put in a machine, you put money in it, you tap in to get into the station, you tap out to get out. And depending on where you tap in and tap out, depends on how much is taken off your Oyster card. So say I put in like 20 pounds, because the UK's currency is pounds. Say I like put in 20 pounds, ride from Waterloo to St. Pancras, and I would tap in at Waterloo, and I would tap out at St. Pancras and say that charged me £3. £3 is now off my Oyster card. Anyways, I'm getting too in depth. Something really funny and really frustrating happened. So now in France, we just had to stick tickets through. Now we actually had our Oyster cards, which my aunt got us for us, thank God. So my sister and I, we tap our cards, and my dad, he's so used to putting tickets through the ticket slot, he takes his Oyster card and puts it through the ticket slot, and it jams the machine. Like, at the moment, it was pretty frustrating, but now I look at it, it was hilarious. Even he finds it funny, but it was a huge mistake. So what he had to do is he had to go and actually buy just like a transit pass. And we, at this point, I think we had about 3 hours till to our flight, so we debated whether to take a cab or take the line, but since we had 3 hours, and we didn't really want to spend that much on pounds, we didn't really want to spend too much money, we wanted to find, like, a cheap way, we just took transit. So my dad eventually, he did get himself a new ticket, thank God, but he gets through. We eventually get on our third train. It goes St. Pancras to Waterloo. We get, no, not Waterloo, St. Pancras to Paddington. Now, we get off at Paddington, and we walk over to the Heathrow Express, which will take us from Paddington to Heathrow in about 15 minutes. So, we also made another hefty mistake. So, my dad, he had to run down and get tickets, and I was there just waiting, and unfortunately, he didn't make it back in time. We probably had about 8 minutes, and it was a pretty decent walk. He came back, we missed the train by about 3 minutes, and then we walked down to get into our train. They depart every 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden we see that we could have gotten tickets there. So it was pretty frustrating, but at that point, we were over it. We ride the 15-minute train ride and end up in Heathrow. Now, that's 4 trains in the span, give me a second, in the span of probably about 4 hours, so and it doesn't end there. Like, that's just the beginning. We end up getting to Heathrow, but we had to walk like 15 minutes from transit to Terminal 2, because the terminals in Heathrow go Terminal 2, 3, 4, and 5. And because we were flying Air Canada, we were Terminal 2. So it was a pretty hefty walk. Eventually we got settled, we got our baggage tags, and then we have to wait in line just to drop off our bags. Now, and at that point, we were experiencing a couple more problems with other people. Now, there was another group of people, like a few families in front of us, that made a costly mistake. They did not get their bags tagged. They thought you just go there and do it, but no, you actually have to do it yourself or possibly get assistance. They thought you can just come here and do it. No, that's not how it worked. And while I was waiting, I saw a woman getting into an argument with someone who was working at Heathrow because her visa was not valid. Now if your visa's not valid, I don't really know too much about visas, but that's not good. Like, that is a massive problem. But anyways, we eventually get out. So eventually we get through baggage, and we had to wait in security. Security was probably about a half-hour wait. Heathrow is buzzing. Now, eventually we got through security. We had to walk to our gate. Now, if you're flying Air Canada out of Heathrow, when you leave security, it is about a 15-minute walk from security to the area where Air Canada departs. And it's not my favorite thing, but that happens. So we got delayed by, I'd say, about 10 to 15 minutes. Our flight got delayed. We made it in good time. And while we were in the air, we caught up. We ended up landing on time instead of landing late. But it doesn't end there. So the flight was it was a pretty solid flight. I spent it watching movies, playing games on my phone, and just listening to music. So when we land, something happened that I never had to witness. So we were walking, and we were like walking through the walkway from plane to gate, and in the middle, we stopped because it's just like everyone in front of us had stopped, and I had no idea why. And all of a sudden, people at Pearson were checking people's passports, and I think something must have happened at Heathrow. They must have been looking for someone. Something must have went wrong, so it was already not good. Eventually, passports, we got ours checked. We ended up going. Customs in Canada, customs at Pearson's always a breeze. And we had to wait for baggage claim. And we were the second carousel, the second group of suitcases that came out. And while I was there, I made a bit of a mistake. So afterwards, we waited for a while. I had to really use the washroom, and I was not even paying attention. So I walk in the first washroom that I see, and I'm looking around, and I see no urinals, and I just see women. So I had accidentally walked into the women's washroom. I was silently freaking out, hoping that nobody sees me, and I just had to kind of walk out and hope no one saw me. Fortunately, no one did see me, thankfully. Eventually, we got our bags, and we got into a airport limo and went on our way home. Now, I'll give you a little bit of context. And by the time we were leaving, it was about 5 p.m. This is rush hour, so I already knew it was going to be a long ride home because of rush hour, but it was even longer for one extra reason. See, I exit at a certain area. So, if y'all know Yorkdale Mall, there's a place before that. My exit is past Yorkdale Mall if you're going east. And there's one exit, Keel Street, that comes before, like 3 or 4 kilometers before Yorkdale. Now, there was an accident. And I'm not just talking a little accident. They had to close off 3 of 4 lanes. Now, we're already in rush hour, and now that they've closed out 3 to 4 lanes, this was horrible. Now, the average drive from my house to my grandparents' house is probably a little bit over an hour. So basically, the length of the car ride was like riding to my grandparents' house. It was a long and brutal ride. Eventually, we did end up getting off at Kiel, and we ended up we didn't go back on the highway, but that ride was absolutely terrible. Sorry, just something popped up on my phone. I just had to do that. And eventually, we made it home, probably by about 6. Probably, a little bit. No, it wasn't 6. We got home a little past 6:30. So we were 2 hours from row 37 of Air Canada flight 858. That's what I think it was. That was in row 37. So we were from there to my front door in about 2 hours. That's not good. And but eventually, we made it home at a bit of an inconvenient time since I really wanted to film my SP's prediction video earlier in the day, but since we got home so late, it just didn't work out, so I had to kind of rush it. But that is my video for today. Thank you all for watching. I hope you like that I've kind of changed it up. Now we have a bit of a wider screen, better quality, and better sound. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment down below what else you want me to do. Also, with this, I might actually start vlogging, and make sure to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat at Souter the Savage. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day. And also, this came with a clicker, so I can do this.